Hi everyone, Sarah here, your English coach, helping you to develop the communication skills, confidence, and fluency you need to speak freely at work so you can thrive in your career in the UK. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss any tips on how to develop your English skills. Let's get started. I work with professionals whose first language is English and who are living and working in the UK. And a lot of the time, their English is actually very good. They know the grammar, and in some situations, they can speak confidently. But in situations where it really matters, whether that's in job interviews, work meetings, or even meeting new people, they don't feel confident. Today, I'm going to reveal 5 hidden reasons why you might not be feeling confident in your English in these high-stake conversations. Hidden reason number 1 is perfectionism. Now, perfectionism sounds like a good thing, right? You're a high-achieving person and you want to do everything really, really well. However, this perfectionism could be what's holding you back and making you feel less confident in your English. Does this sound familiar? You're in a meeting. Your manager asks for ideas or solutions to a problem. You have the perfect idea, but while you're trying to form the perfect sentence and find the right words in English, your colleague, who also speaks English as a second language, speaks up. He makes grammar mistakes, but the manager goes with his idea. It's frustrating. You have a great idea, but it's the person who's more confident in their English that gets heard, that gets seen, and gets more opportunities. Can you see how your perfectionism and wanting your English to be perfect is stopping you and holding you back? My tip here is, in those situations, focus on your message. When you're practicing your English, of course, you can work on grammar and practicing finding the perfect words and sentences. But in the moment, in those meetings, focus on the message. So next time you're in a meeting and you have an idea, say it, regardless of the grammar or any mistakes that you make. Hidden reason number 2 is caring too much about what other people think. This is a big one. Now, of course, we want people to take us seriously and think we're professional. However, when we care too much about what other people think, it can control us and our confidence. You don't speak up in a meeting or you don't start that conversation because you think, if I make mistakes, they'll think I'm incompetent. Or maybe you think they'll judge me because of my accent. But all these thoughts are letting that other person control your confidence. Now, I can totally relate. Years back when I started learning Thai in Thailand, I used to practice my Thai speaking to taxi drivers. Sometimes I'd speak really clearly, and the taxi driver would tell me, "Wow, your Thai is so good." And I'd feel so confident for the rest of the week. Other times, I would struggle to find the words. The taxi driver wouldn't understand, would get frustrated with me because I couldn't express myself. And it would make me feel so unconfident. I'd spiral into these thoughts of, I'm not good enough, my time's not good enough, I'm never going to get opportunities. I was letting other people impact my confidence. In many cases, people are more worried about themselves and what people think of them to really care about you, but some people might judge. Now, the key here is to not let their judgment impact your confidence. We can do that by putting ourselves into those situations where we don't feel confident. And when we survive, we get through, we build our own confidence. There's different ways that we can do this, but just being aware that we are letting other people control our confidence is a big step. I found that focusing on helping the people that we're speaking to can really help us to feel less worried about what they're thinking about us. For example, making YouTube videos. Sometimes I worry what people think, but when I think, well, what about the people this video could help? When I focus on that, it helps me to push through. Then I do it and it builds that self-confidence as well. Hidden reason number 3 is confusing our knowledge of English with our ability to use it. If you learn English at school and you always got good grades, you might think, well, I've got this certificate, I will be fine. But then you get into those situations where you've never used English. You're in a meeting, you've never been in a meeting in English. You might know what to say in theory because you've learned all these phrases to use. But if you've never actually practiced using them, it's going to be a lot more difficult in that context. In this case, say you feel nervous about meetings, practice by yourself or with somebody else, using those phrases, speaking them out loud. Because when we actually say the words that we know, it helps it to become more automatic. So when we're in that meeting, we don't have to think about it so much and it flows more naturally and automatically. Hidden reason number 4 is intercultural communication. Now, maybe you used English at work in your home country. Maybe you spoke to providers or clients from other countries and you used English as your means of communication. But then you came to the UK and you felt like, I don't understand English at all. One of the things that can be difficult is understanding different accents, the speed that British people speak, and also some of the phrases that don't really translate can be really confusing as well. So feeling like you don't understand people is going to be difficult. So listening as much to British speakers, local radio, it's going to help you to tune into the different accents and to the different phrases that people use. But another hidden aspect is communication style. Now, not all British people, of course. There is a tendency to use indirect communication in order not to hurt people's feelings. So if your manager wants to tell you no, they might not just say no, they might say this in an indirect way. Let me give you an example. I remember a client once telling me that he'd been in a meeting, the manager had asked for ideas, he'd shared his idea, and the manager had said, "That's interesting, I'll think about it." My client thought his idea was interesting and it was going to be considered as a solution. In the end, it wasn't considered and the manager went with his colleague. Now that made my client feel like it was personal. The manager didn't take his idea because it was his idea. And you can see how that made him feel less confident and even isolated from his team. Now, what the manager actually meant was, no, that's not a good idea. To be polite and to not hurt his feelings, he said, "That's interesting, I'll think about it." But he didn't really intend to think about it. Now, this is why being aware of this communication style and understanding those unwritten meanings of phrases, particularly in the UK, is going to help you a lot. Hidden reason number 5 is 2 in 1. The first is comparison, comparing yourself to others, and then feeling isolated and alone. Maybe you can relate to this. You have a friend or a colleague who is from your country maybe, and they arrived in the UK at the same time as you. They were more confident, they made progress very quickly, and they were able to express their ideas, and you feel like you were stuck, not making progress at the same rate as them. Can you see how that comparison is really impacting your confidence? Not only that, it can make you feel isolated because you start to feel, well, everyone else is fine. I'm the only one. I'm the only one not feeling confident. But when you actually speak to your colleague And other expats who are in the same situation as you might think they know everything and everything is fine, but maybe they feel just like you. We have a saying in English, a problem shared is a problem halved. So when you talk about these things with other people, it can make you feel less isolated. It's not just you. And also they can share how they built the confidence and what you can do too. This is where every time you feel you're going to compare yourself, stop, focus on your own journey and your own path, but also have these conversations. Share that you don't feel confident in your English. They might be surprised. They might think, oh, we thought you were really confident in your English. You never know. I hope you found this video useful because building real confidence in English and not just surface level, learning the words and knowing what to say, when we work on these hidden areas, this is when you truly build the confidence to express yourself in those difficult, high-stakes situations and more opportunities come your way. Building confidence can change everything. And that's why I created the English Fluency Accelerator program. This combines personalized one-to-one coaching, but you also have access to group discussion sessions. If you'd like to join, I'll put the link to put your needs analysis session in the description. Thanks for watching and see you on the next video.